Hello, everybody. It is Monday, January 12th, and welcome back to the Nick Watkins Show. I'm Nick Watkins. Let's get into it. We're going to start with, of course, the 49ers playoff win in the wild card round against the Philadelphia Eagles. This game was nuts. If you were there for the live stream of the game, you know just how crazy it was and just how really stressful. The live stream was a lot of fun, though. I'm probably gonna do that again for the Niners game next week and maybe some other games in the future. That was a lot of fun. Thank you to all of you who were there. Grant was there. Aaron, Boston, uh, Anonymous, I think was Noah, but I'm not really sure about that. Kurt was there. Jack was there. We had fun on the live stream for sure. But don't go watch it back. No reason why. No reason why. But anyway, let's get into this game here. Wow. The 49ers won the game 23-19. 13 points in the fourth quarter. This game was back and forth. I have a lot of things to say about it. I guess we'll start with probably the MVP of the game, Christian McCaffrey. Although we had a lot of people contributing, great games from some unlikely people, and the coaching staff did a magnificent job, as they have been all year, especially Salah and, of course, Shanahan. But we'll start with McCaffrey's performance. The two running backs in this game for each team both had great games. Christian McCaffrey, 15 carries for 48 yards. That's 3.2 a pop, which isn't the best, but 3.2 is very, very slightly below where you want to be. If you can get 3.4 a carry, you're going to pick up a first down every single time. So, or not every single time, but 3.4 is the minimum where you want to be at to be running the ball successfully. 3.2 is pretty good. Would like to see a little bit more yards per carry, obviously, but I'm content with that, especially because we won the game. But next week it's going to be a lot harder against a very good D line, better than the Eagles at least. But he made up for that receiving. He had 8 targets. He caught 6 of those for 66 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns in this game. One of them came from Brock, the other from Jawan, who Jawan has 2 passing touchdowns in the playoffs. Sorry, both to McCaffrey, which is tied with and more than a lot of really great quarterbacks have in their whole playoff careers. And he's a wide receiver. He's only thrown 2 passes, 2 touchdowns. But yeah, so McCaffrey balled out like almost 50% of our offensive plays went to him. And if you include Juszczyk, then it's over 50%. Juszczyk had a nice game. He was doing a lot of things, blocking as he normally does, utility. Demarcus Robinson, he showed up in this game in a big way. 6 catches, 111 yards, and 1 touchdown on the first drive of the game. He had a 61-yarder on the second play for the 49ers that set us up. And 2 of our touchdowns were set up by long yak plays, yards after the catch, run after the catch, whatever you want to call it. And then Jawan, of course, mentioned him. Unfortunately, the bad news, kind of that puts a damper on the entire win, was George Kittle. He had 1 catch for 6 yards, and on that play, he got hurt. He tore his Achilles. Obviously, going to be out for the playoffs, all of it. Achilles tear kind of depends on the severity. It looked pretty serious. He got carted off the field. This year is 100% out of the question. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, but you could be thinking about next year. Is he going to play next year? I think he probably will play next year. Maybe not. Maybe not. Probably not at the beginning. But I do expect him to come back. And you just hope that with the 3 main guys that got injured this year, Kittle, Bosa, and Warner, that they play more like their previous selves than maybe the injury doesn't affect them as much. You can only hope and pray, and we would definitely will be praying for Kittle as well as all the other guys. But that leads into this point of how we lost Kittle. So if you want to take a look at the list, that's Pearsall out, Kittle out, Ayuk Nobody knows where he is. He is gone. Okay, so he hasn't played this year, and he's our best receiver. Fred Warner, best linebacker in football, probably top 10 all time. Can I say that? Out. Bosa, top three D end in football, out. Michael Williams, rookie, out. Uh, D Winners, out. Bethune, out. That is our three starting linebackers. Actually, there are two starting linebackers and the backup all out. Our two starting linebackers in this game were literally picked up off the street. They were on the team. Well, they were not on the team a month ago. Kendricks and Wallow, and they played both of them played fantastic games as well as the entire defense. Um, who else? Jair Brown went out at the beginning of the game, and I'm sure I'm missing some more people. Uh, and we still won this game despite that. And the word that Demarcus Robinson used after the game when he was talking to Brady, the word was resilient, and I completely agree. That's a word that I've been using to describe this team all year. It was the Giants' slogan um, before COVID, I believe, like 2019 was resilient. It was on all the banners on the street, on King and Fourth and Third and all those. But yeah, this that applies more to this team than anything. I mean, all the adversity, all the injuries. McCaffrey and Lenore have been the only two stars, and Juszczyk as well, that haven't been affected, that haven't missed games at least. I'm sure they've all been affected by injuries. Um, they've all been playing through stuff. We're so hurt, so banged up, and yet we go into Philadelphia, very hostile environment, and we take down the defending champs. Um, Incredible, and I'm so proud of this team. And even if we don't win next week at Seattle, I'm still gonna be happy with this season. Well, obviously not gonna be happy, but with the cards we were dealt, we did a good job this season. Obviously, you're gonna try and go all the way. You're gonna be disappointed, but you know we made the playoffs and we won a game, and I think that is a lot more than other teams would be able to do in our situation, and we definitely should be proud of ourselves. With that being said, we're not, gonna say, oh, okay, that's it, we're done. We accomplished something. We're just gonna, pack it up, go home. No, we're coming out firing next week against Seattle. Um, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's stay on this game. The defense did a great job in this game, and I was very worried that right before the game started, I thought to myself, like I've said before, Saquon Barkley's the key to the game. And I was watching the pregame and I saw Saquon Barkley and I thought, wait a minute, that's Saquon Barkley. And I know he hasn't been very good this year, but do you remember last year? You remember the years before that? There's a reason this guy is like just top five in the league. Um, and that thought occurred to me right before. I mean, I know I was taking it seriously before, but it really got me worried. And my fears were confirmed in the first half when the Eagles ran all over us. And although we came out and we got the first score of the game, which was a touchdown, which was big, we ended up going down at one point in the first half, and the Eagles started to run the football, and they were running it with authority. Um, it's they've been bad this year for sure. They still have the pieces, but they've been very bad. And I don't want to say that they looked good, although they did look good, but the reason they looked good was because our defense was so bad and, well, is so bad. They played great yesterday, but we are not a very good unit. We don't do a good job stopping the run because we're so hurt, of course. And I thought, oh no, they are going to just run it down our throats. And I'm going to move over here. The sun getting my eyes. Um, they're just going to run it down our throats, and they're going to just run it and run it and run it. And Saquon's going to go for 200 yards, and we're not going to have a chance. But this weird phenomenon that's been occurring is even though teams have success running the football, think back to the Bears game, for some reason they get pass happy. And even though they're up at some points, and this is why being ahead is so important. They just they get air happy and they just want to air it out and throw and throw and throw. And even though they're running for 140 yards at the end of the day, the difference between the first half and the second half for the Eagles running rushing offense was drastically different. They scored 13 points in the first half and 6 in the second half. Okay, and I don't even think they had any turnovers in this game. Um, yeah, they didn't. So it just go, they did that all on their own. Um, I think teams should be running the ball even if they're down by 14 against us because it's gonna work. They're gonna tire us out. You're gonna get some momentum and you're just gonna run, run, run. That's what Seattle did because they were ahead and they realized it worked and they didn't have to deviate from that. And the Eagles, although they were having so much success, Saquon had 26 carries, but in the second half, he only had 11. So, do with that what you will. I think for the Eagles, if I think I don't think Kevin Patullo's been fired yet. He's their offensive coordinator, and I am sitting here scratching my head, wondering why he wasn't fired within minutes of that game being over. Because, like I've been saying, leading up to this, to yesterday's game, and right now, the Eagles have the pieces. They have really good players, yet the offense isn't working. And when you have good players and they're not playing well, but they're not playing well because the coaching sucks. Okay, they are really. I would fire him immediately if I were in charge. Speaking of firing immediately, AJ Brown, 3 catches for 25 yards. He had 7 targets. He dropped 2 passes in this game. Um, he was talking drama. I mentioned it all throughout the year. Anytime the Eagles have brought up AJ Brown drama, AJ Brown drama, AJ Brown drama, he said, I should be getting the ball. You should be throwing the ball to me. I'm the best player. 2 drops when it matters. 2 in the fourth quarter. Um, he played horrible in this game. And I guess part of that is maybe the Niners defense stepping up and playing way above expectations. Part of it's Lenore being a dog. And part of it is just AJ Brown not showing up when it matters. So I think we touched on everything. Um, Focusing on Brock Purdy, he threw 2 interceptions in this game, but he also threw 2 touchdowns, 262 yards, um, 18 of 31. He had 9 carries. 9 carries? When did that happen? I don't remember that. But yeah, 9 carries for 24 yards. He was sacked once, so good job to the O line there. I don't remember him running 9 times. I mean, there were some sneaks in there, but I don't know. Oh well. Um, just stats. But the clutch factor on Brock Purdy is alive and well. Okay, we went down the field trailing. We went down and scored. Trailing again, went down and scored a touchdown. When it matters, Brock Purdy shows up and he played. He didn't play great, but at the same time, he didn't play bad. He played a nice, solid, good football game, and we won the football game, and that's what matters after all. I think you can't say he played bad because he didn't. He played a good game. And then Kyle Shanahan, this is probably his most impressive win, just because of who we have out, who we're playing against, um, the the context of everything, the context of the whole season. This is probably his most impressive win, um, probably surpassing that Lions one, which is an impressive comeback. Just the resiliency, man. This team is so resilient. I'm so proud of this team. I'm so happy with this team, and maybe this can give us a spark. I'm happy that we didn't, you know, get embarrassed. We didn't roll over. The Seattle game was very tough. We're gonna have to play them again, but we didn't. We weren't discouraged. And then, of course, the Kittle thing is awful. But and okay, we're definitely not in a good spot right now. We have to go to Seattle, which is on Saturday, by the way, which is just horrible scheduling. We'll get to that in a later date, but I don't want to go on a whole rant because we have more games to talk about. We have a lot of games to talk about, but great win for the 49ers. So happy and proud of this team. Um, next week will be exciting for sure, and hopefully we don't get smoked. There were two other football games that happened yesterday: the Bills and the Jaguars. This was another good game. All of these games, with the exception of Pats Chargers, have been close, good games that really could have gone either way, and they came down to the last minute or so. Bills Jaguars. This was kind of a weird game. The way that it was described on CBS. A couple of guys said it. Romo, Burleson, they said it. It was in the first half. It was kind of like they were feeling each other out. They were throwing some jabs. That was what the words they used. And I thought it's a good analogy because they weren't really doing anything. Excuse me. They were kind of just like, well, what's this team? We haven't faced them. What's their game plan? What's going on here? Finals or the score at halftime was 10-7. Each team had a field goal in the third, and then it exploded in the fourth quarter. Each team scored 2 touchdowns, 28 points combined in the fourth quarter, and it was really, when it came down to it, the Jacksonville offense was good as a whole, but for Buffalo, their offense was Josh Allen, and it has been like that this entire year. It's been a lot of James Cook, and then Josh Allen is the rest. It's those two guys are the offense for the Buffalo Bills. And when it mattered, Josh Allen put the team on his back, and it was gonna have to be that way, and it's gonna continue to have to be that way for the Bills to have success. It's gonna need to be Josh Allen. He's proved himself time and time again, and he did it again right here. He had 273 passing yards, passing touchdown, no turnovers, 2 rushing touchdowns on 11 carries for 33 yards. A couple sneaks to get in. He was clutch down the stretch, 28 of 35. He's playing. It wasn't his best game, but his best games are otherworldly. So it was a great game for Josh Allen. As for the Jaguars, I think they should be proud of themselves. I mean, it was their first year with a new coach, and they win the division and host a playoff game, and that's a tough, tough draw. Um, to have to face the Bills in the first round. I really think this game could have gone the other way. The Jaguars could have won this game. And like I said yesterday, when these games are so close, you can pick and choose certain plays and say, well, if this one went that way or that one this way, um, it would be different. I think the Jaguars should be proud of themselves. They put up 24 in a playoff game. Their defense really played well until Josh Allen took over. They really held the Bills in check, running the football. And I think the Jaguars should be proud of themselves for this effort. Nothing to hang your head at, but the Bills are moving on, and they'll play Denver. The other game, Chargers at the Patriots, and this game was a defensive game. It was kind of a snooze. There were a lot of sacks in this game. 6 for the New England, 5 for the Chargers. Justin Herbert was getting battered. I mean, he was taking it. No, don't even do that. He was he was getting hit hard. We mentioned this on Friday's episode. Was it? Now I don't know what day it is. There's been a lot of football going on. Um, yeah, it was Saturday. On Saturday's episode with Noah, how the Chargers offense is just so beat up. They lost both tackles to all pro tackles, and that the Patriots defense just wreaked havoc on the Chargers offense. They only scored 3 points in this game. They couldn't run the ball, they couldn't throw the ball, and then the Patriots, they just did enough offensively. They ran the ball pretty well, 146 yards. They had 414 yards. It didn't feel like that. Um, they did have 2 turnovers that could play into it. Chargers 1 for 10 on third down. That's not a recipe for success. And it was just a field goal fest. I mean, there was one touchdown in the game, and then it was just field goals after that. There's not really that much to talk about. Um, do I feel more confident in the Patriots after this? I think the same amount of confidence, just because the offense slowed. I think they should be able to regain their footing against the Bills, who are a weaker defense than the Chargers. But that defense played an amazing game, and so I think in the offense, feel a little less confident, but with the defense, you feel more confident, so it balances out. And I still think the Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl this year. That's my prediction. I stick by that, stand by that. Those were 3 games from Saturday or from Sunday. There were 2 games on Saturday, and then the last game is tonight. The Texans at the Steelers. I think this should be fairly simple. The Texans' defensive line, which is the best in football, uh, probably the best in football. I mean, Cleveland's pretty good. Seattle's pretty good. LA is pretty good. The Texans' defensive line, which is arguably the best in the league, is going to eat Aaron Rodgers alive in this game. If you go back to the Cleveland game from Week 17, the Steelers put up 6 points. Myles Garrett didn't even have a sack, but he was affecting the game. They were throwing it with like one second. He take a drop back, immediately throw the ball. Aaron Rodgers is an old man. He's a legend, but he is an old man. And I think he is going to get sacked over and over and over again. And then the Steelers defense, I think they're going to show up in this game. I think it's a big game that matters. Home crowd. I think the Steelers defense is going to show up and play on par with what the Texans defense has been doing. So I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but eventually the Texans will manage to break through and score a touchdown. That's probably going to be it. All they're going to need. I think I said 21-10. Maybe the Texans might score less than that. I think this is going to be a very defensive game, but unlike the Chargers-Patriots game, I think this is going to be a fun defensive game. I think there's going to be some amazing defense being played, and it's not like the offenses will be incompetent. They're going to try, and they're going to do some good things. But I think the 2 defenses in this game, I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. If you like defense, that's for sure. So that's the games that I'm pretty straightforward. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. And then, of course, the Niners win, Kittle got hurt, and then you have 2 more things that kind of made the day less fun. The first being the Warriors lost to the Hawks. Apparently, the Hawks are good. They traded Trae Young, and they won 3 in a row. They beat Denver, which is a good team. They beat Minnesota and New York weeks ago. They're a good team. And the Warriors didn't play good defense in this game. And we lost by 13 points. And we had, let me find the stat here, 15 turnovers. So if you take half of those turnovers and turn them into jump shots and layups, we win this basketball game. And even though Jimmy had 30 and Steph had 31, we lost. And I think the turnovers have been a problem. Usually, or they were a problem in this game, usually we're the ones turning the other team over, and we capitalize off that. But in this game, it happened the other way around, and we turned the ball over. So we got to fix that before our next game, which is on Tuesday against the Blazers. That's tomorrow. Try and rebound. Try and not turn the ball over in that one. And the other game that put a damper on things, the Sharks lost to the Vegas Golden Knights. We had a chance to go into first place tie with Vegas. If we won this game, we did not win this game. We lost 7-2. We had 5 power play opportunities. We didn't score on any of them. We didn't score on any. And we got outshot 33-20. That was the story of the game. Usually that's how we've been beating people. So if you look at the Sharks and the Warriors, it's been a inverse, flipped stat-wise in terms of that. Usually the Warriors turn teams over and capitalize. Usually the Sharks cash in on power play opportunities and outshoot the other team when we've been winning games as of very recently. But Vegas dominated this one, and we got down big, and we couldn't capitalize. So that's unfortunate, obviously. We're going to bounce back. We're going to have to wait a while, so this one we're going to sit with this. I'm not super mad about this loss. I'm not super upset because it's a very tough back-to-back. You have the Stars on Saturday and the Golden Knights on Sunday. That's 2 really good hockey teams. hockey clubs, whatever. Um, and we got the win against the Stars, so we could afford to lose this game. But you don't want to get into that mindset, like I said before. So I'm not super upset. We just got to do better. Our next game is on Thursday. So we have a lot of time to heal and get ready. The back to backs, we have another back to back Thursday, Friday after 3 days, 4 days of rest, which feels unnecessary. But we got some time off from the Sharks, so we're going to be focusing on basketball and playoffs for this week until the Sharks play again. So, good Niners win. We got good football tonight, hopefully, and that's going to be it for tonight. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate the support, and I will see you guys tomorrow.